Okay, everyone, I need for you to flip your paper back to the front of the worksheet, and we want to look at example 1. Now, looking at example 1, we do not have two tangents. But we do see, believe it or not, this is a right triangle. So let me show you how I know this is a right triangle. First of all, this is a tangent. So right here, point S is a point of tangency. And I want you to remember this rule. Anytime you have a tangent to a circle, and that point of tangency also serves as one of the endpoints of a radius. Once again, anytime you have a tangent to a circle, in this case, we have a point of tangency, and the point of tangency, point S, is also an endpoint for one of the radii of that circle. When this tangent and this radius meet at the point of tangency, they are always perpendicular to each other. So we have a right angle here, which makes this triangle a right triangle. Where do we see that again? You see it right here. Even when we had two tangents, but still when you have a tangent to a circle and the point of tangency also serve as an endpoint of a radius, then when those two segments meet, they are always perpendicular to each other. We see the same thing here. We have a tangent and a radius, so they are perpendicular. Likewise over here, you have a tangent to a circle and you have a radius, and they both meet at the point of tangency. So when they meet, they form a right angle. Do not forget this rule. Many times they will not tell you that the angle is a right angle. You're supposed to know this, okay? So if we have a right triangle and we have measures for all sides, but they want us to solve for the value of r. How do we find the value of r? Hey, what can we use? What were you given in the past? You were given the Pythagorean theorem. So let's apply it. What is Pythagorean theorem? It is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So stop staring at me and let's write this on your paper, okay? So let's begin with A and B. A and B are the legs. The legs are always the two sides that meet to form the right angle. So one leg has a measure of r squared, and we're going to square it, and the other side has a measure of 48. So we're going to plug it in. It becomes 48 squared, and we set that equal to the measure of C, which is the hypotenuse. But notice the hypotenuse, it has two parts. One part is r units, the other part is 36. So to represent the measure for the whole hypotenuse, we got to add r plus 36. So we have an expression. You must place that expression within parentheses because you need to square the whole thing, okay? So now we have our equation set up. Let's solve it. Okay, on the left side, it's pretty simple. Bring down r squared, but we need to take 48 and square it. So 48 squared is 2,304. But to square this binomial, you have been taught to use the box method. So find some scratch sheet of paper somewhere to do this work, but on the side, you're going to form a 2x2 box, and we're going to multiply r plus 36 times r plus 36. So here we get r squared, and this block we get 36r. Here we get 36r, and over here, let's see, 36 times 36, or 36 squared, is 1,296. All right, so now we want to bring down this trinomial. So we write it as r squared plus 36 plus 36 is 72. So 72r plus the 1,296. Now we need to simplify what we have. And the first thing I would do is I would move my quadratic terms. So it doesn't matter which one you move. I may want to move this r squared over here. To undo r squared, I subtract r squared. Do the same thing to both sides. But look what happens. The quadratic terms, they both cancel. So that leaves 2,304 on the left, and we set that equal to 72 times r plus 1,296. Always look at the term that is on the side by itself. Don't move it. On the other side, do you see a term like it? You want to move that term. So I want to move the 1,296 by subtracting. And when we do, I need you working on using your calculators. All right, so that gives us 1,008. Then we want to divide each side by 72. And we find that r is 14. Okay, let's try one other problem together. It's not hard. Just make sure that you plug into your equation properly and then simplify. Once again, if you look at problem number 3, example 3, we have a right triangle. and we're asked to solve for r. So we need to set up an equation. So because we're dealing with all three sides of that right triangle, we want to use Pythagorean theorem. So once again, we write out a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Starting with the legs, one leg is r, so r squared plus. The other leg is represented by 28, so 28 squared equal. But in this, looking at the hypotenuse, it has two parts. One part is r, the other is 14, so let's combine them. R plus 14, include this within parentheses because we got to square the whole thing, okay? So we bring down r squared plus 28 squared, put that in your calculator, 28 times 28, or 28 squared, and we get 784 equal. But for r plus 14 squared, we need to come to the side on this piece of scratch paper and square this binomial. So r plus 14 times r plus 14, that gives us r squared, 14r, 14r, and then 14 times 14 gives a product of 196. So let's bring this over as a trinomial. So that would be equal to r squared. 14 plus 14 is 28r plus 196. Once again, I will first get rid of my quadratic terms. So let's move this r squared. Do the same thing to the other side, and they both cancel. So that leaves the 784 equal to 28 times r plus 196. Very simple. Now we have a simple two-step equation to solve. All right, to solve this, you want to first leave the 784 where it is. Move this like term over there to the same side, so minus 196. That gives us 588. Bring down the rest of the problem. And last thing we need to do is divide each side by 28. And we find that r is my age, 21.
21.
Okay? Easy! Easy! Oh, don't miss this. All right, let's do one more example like this. Let's look at number 4, and then I'm through. I think you guys can do the rest on your own. Can you first, I'll pause for a minute. Can you set it up? Can you set it up without my help? I want you to write a squared plus b squared. And I want all of you to write down the equation. Now, you may not begin with the same value that I begin with. I may start over here, r squared. All right, so this is a radius, this is a tangent. They meet here, so this is the right angle. So this is the other leg, which is 70. And then for the hypotenuse, we add r plus 50 and squared. So they give us r squared plus 4,900 is equal to, and now we're going to come over here and box this. R plus 50. If you want to remember this, you need to go home and rework these problems and try a few on the back. So that gives us r squared, 50r, 50r, and then 2,500. Combine like terms. All right, so that we bring it over as r squared plus 100r plus, did I do this right, Lena? Okay. All right, so now we want to simplify this, beginning with your quadratics. Minus r squared. They both cancel. That leaves 4,900 equals 100r plus the 2,500. Work ahead of me now. Which one of these is like the 4,900? Right, the 2,500. Uh-oh. All right, so now bring it down. 2,400. Divide each side by 100. And we find that r is my age, 24. And there we are. Simple. Okay? So you have a few other problems on the back. I want you to work on those. Make sure you try some from each section, from each rule. Practice. See what you get. When you come in tomorrow, well, in a moment you're about to receive a review sheet for your quiz. Please have this review completed when you walk in tomorrow. So you will have an opportunity to check it with me, and then once you check it, you're going to get your quiz, have about 30 minutes to complete it. So please come prepared. Anyway, check you later.